There is so much pressure to make those New Year's resolutions stick. Mindset and wellness expert Sonia Jhas says it's all on how you frame things. Great to have you in studio today.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Now, if you try to do everything, make yourself over completely and okay, I'm gonna start exercising, I'm gonna start eating better, I'm gonna quit smoking. If you try to do everything at once, you're setting yourself up for failure.
That's exactly it. And you know, I feel like we get to this point every year, year over year. We've done this before where we're like, you know what? Everything that held me back before is no longer going to apply. I am going to be more motivated, more committed. The things that were really struggles for me before, I've overcome them. It's the new me. And you know, when we do that, what happens is we're really not building on experience, right? We all have years and years of experience coming to this point, and it's about looking at that data and being really realistic about how do you connect the mind and the body and set new foundations that are really digestible so that you can create that small, slow, steady snowball, which really builds the momentum. Because it's like action, when we can take that small action, that's what leads to the results. And the results, that's what leads to the momentum and the motivation. It's not the other way around.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So let's say you have a small healthy habit that you do. So maybe it's like you are drinking like 3 or 4 glasses of water a day. Then that's easier to build on if you want to drink more than that.
Exactly. So, you know, so many people buy those amazing water bottles that are like the size of a suitcase and you're like, I'm going to do it. And you're peeing all day long and it's too heavy and you forget it at home and then you're not drinking any water.
And it gets warm and it's gross.
Exactly. And then, you know, within 2 weeks you're like, oh, like where's the water bottle? The whole thing went out the window. You know, the biggest thing that you can do is to say, okay, how much water have I been drinking before? And frankly, for most people, that's like no water at all. How can I start drinking, you know, 500 milliliters a day? And then from there, you know, after 2 weeks and your bladder has adjusted and you're starting to develop that thirst and you're connecting to the body, which is like, oh, I need more of this. How do you take that up to a liter? And then from a liter to 1.5. And it's that slow and steady progress that then has you, you know, sitting here in March being like, oh, water's just a part of my lifestyle.
It's easy, yes.
It becomes easy and it becomes sustainable. And it's the same whether it's about water or movement or breath work or journaling. It's like, how do you make it so dummy proof off the bat where you cannot fail? And you can give yourself that gold star, that ticky mark to be like, okay, I'm nailing this adulting thing. It's happening. That feel-good vibe that you can create is what's going to create that traction, that success going forward. And then it becomes just second nature. It's about abandoning the all or nothing approach. When you can do that, you really start to shift that on again, off again cycle. And aren't we so done with it?
Yeah, and you don't necessarily have to start doing it like you don't have, you know, if you fail, you don't have to go, well, I've got a whole year now to do whatever, and I'll start again next January 1st, right? You can start with new habits anytime.
This is where we really have to confront that I'll start again tomorrow narrative. The tomorrow becomes Monday, the Monday becomes the first of the next month, which becomes next January. This is where we come back and say, you know what, we are going to stumble, we are going to trip up. Expecting 100% perfection and compliance, that's what sets us up for disappointment and failure. So, you know, when you can sit here at the beginning of the year, after the holidays, after you've eaten too much stuff and you're feeling rotten about yourself, it's like knowing that you're not a robot, that you are going to be human, and that really, in my opinion, if you can get to 80% success, 80% compliance, that's where you're really setting yourself up for realistic progress as opposed to the all or nothing. That's what doesn't work.
So getting to good enough is
good enough.
enough.
Good enough is good enough. And as we talk about good, you know, one of the other approaches that I really like to consider is how do you layer in the good instead of focusing on taking out the bad? Right? So rather than being like, I'm off junk food forever, like no cookies again, I love to think about it as like, okay, how do I maybe layer in one green smoothie every day? And just allow that to be the one thing that I did to signal to myself, I value my body, I value my health. And let that be the positive driven snowball that we're looking for as opposed to limitations, lack, you're not allowed to eat the cookie.
Okay. so you can still have the cookie.
It's
Have
all
the
right.
cookie.
It's all about it.
Excellent advice, Sonia.
you.
So we'll get the list of all your socials up on our website,
Absolutely.
chch.com. Remember,
Yes.
it's just like little bits that you have to
Teeny
do. And
tiny.
you can start today.
Absolutely start today, not tomorrow.
Right.